I'm excited.
Me
Okay,
too.
hello, everybody. This is the first installment of CrafteaMess, where we craft and we talk about the messiness that is on YouTube, in pop culture, social media, all the stuff, any hot topics. It's gonna come here while we craft and get our fingers burnt with glue gun. So I am here with my co-host. We kind of switch back and forth between the host and co-host, and this is Mel. And yeah,
Hello.
Mel, go ahead and tell me a little bit about what you're crafting today.
So during COVID quarantine, I've been getting into knitting. So I've been knitting a lot of stuff. Now I've actually am knitting this huge like baby blanket for my sister. Her baby's due in June. So I have some time. I still have another like roll or skein to go through. But yeah, it's a fluffy blanket. What about you,
Is it
KL?
is
What is that?
So I am working on some paper flowers. I promised my friend Angela that I was gonna make her something nice because she's kind of going through like a little down moment here. So I figured I'm gonna surprise her. Well,
Oh.
it's not a surprise anymore. She knows because I asked her. I was like, "Do you have room for something that's about 15 inches in your office?" And she's like, "I'll
Nice.
make the room if you're gonna make me something." So
It's
I'm kind of
a
working
it's
on.
a frame? Like, are you putting it
No,
as a
it's well, I won't spoil it for her, but
okay?
it will be like a floral display kind of thing.
I love
But
yeah.
yeah, so it'll be really nice. So it'll go in her little office.
It
Hopefully, it'll
looks
turn out a
very
little.
pretty already.
There's a lot going on. So this this whole situation is like, and I can't breathe hard because it's like flying
I
everywhere.
know.
But the whole gossiping or chit chatting and doing this will like help with trying to finish this up.
No,
So
that's true. This is just like
okay.
a girls chat gossip between
Yeah,
between us
I'm just saying,
while we
like back in
craft.
the day, yeah, back in the day when people were like, crafting and knitting and cooking and baking,
Yeah.
we were all chit-chatting or quote unquote gossiping. Um, I'm not gonna call us a gossiping channel because obviously we're not gonna like spread rumors and say
No,
negative
no.
things about people. No, 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 no. We're definitely just gonna share our opinions. Obviously, everyone lives their lives differently, right? And
Yeah.
with that said, I do want to say that this is our opinions based on what we've seen on social media, what people have posted. We do
Yes.
encourage you guys to kind of like, check out some of the links down below. We do link them and also kind of like see the information for yourself and come up with your own
Yeah.
opinion as if you do want to share something, definitely comment down below, and because we want to know what you
Yeah.
guys think as well. Um,
We do,
and
yeah, and we do not encourage harassment on other channels. This is all mainly of, how we are seeing this story unfold in front of our eyes. And if anything, it's more about like us talking it out and seeing like what's going on and giving our 2 cents to the matter. It's not at all based on facts currently. So it's just more about just talking about the story unfolding in front of our eyes.
yes, so are we ready for this messiness, this crafty messiness, Mel?
I'm ready. Are you? I even have my tea.
Oh my goodness, I only have water, so shame on me. All
So
right,
it's
so let the crafty mess begin.
all right, and also remember never to oversteep. Okay, so KL, I've been listening to like the things that's been going on Trisha Gate. I guess people are calling it that. But there's a lot that's being unfolded. I don't know her that well, but just based on the past that I've seen of her or heard of her, I've always I don't really have like one opinion or another, but I do see just some of the things that she's been talking about like things like bullying and all that going on this like trip, a Vegas trip that she went with Jeffree and a few others, right?
Mhm.
She wasn't invited to go to on this trip, but apparently during the trip they were making fun of her and they were like kind of ostracizing her. And if anything, for me, I don't like, no matter what kind of person you are, I do not like to see another person being bullied. Like if they didn't like her to begin with, why even invite her on this trip? What is she like a entertainment source? Like that's mean. That's plain mean girls, okay?
That is, what I did hear, is that I guess, like on the H3 podcast, like I guess she was going through like a down like a moment, and Jeffree was like, "Hey, come on this trip with us. Maybe I'll make you feel better." But then it kind of like did not make her feel better. So I
It
guess
made
like
it
what was it?
worse.
Yeah. So I guess like was it a hindsight thing that he didn't think that through, or was it premeditated? So um I mean, like for you and I, we've hung out in like many situations together where we're in a group setting. I don't think we've ever been in a mindset where we were gonna make one person feel left out, or like it's not just
No.
something you do, because I feel like that takes it takes an extra process, like a mindset to be like, hey, we're going to go out of our way to treat this person horribly. So it's like extra effort that I don't think you have to make that effort. It's not something that
But
comes, I don't know.
and
It's
it's
just,
very true because it's again like it's one of the things where it said that if you don't like the person, why would you invite the person onto the trip? And just
yeah,
like plain making fun of her and doing all that stuff like for fun. For me, that's like if we do include anyone on our trip and everything, we actually want to hang out with the person. We want to get to know the person. We want to have fun with the person, not like straight out making fun of them. And like it's just really like that whole process to me is just weird.
yeah. I mean, like you and I have been in situations where, like, there are some people we are not comfortable with. Either you're not comfortable with them or I'm not comfortable with them. But, like, even so, we either tell each other that, I don't know, and then we move it along, or we
But
just kind of like,
we don't go
yeah,
out of
yeah,
our way to make them feel uncomfortable.
yeah, yeah. Or we still hang out with them and give them the benefit of the doubt, and
Yes.
then our minds get changed later. But like we don't, yeah, go out of our way to be like, let's invite them and then be mean. And then on top of that, like to pay for all of her expenses. It's I don't know. There's no amount of money that I would ever take to feel to like sit in the room to be like berated and feel like crap. Like it's just I feel like when you're in your 30s, like your dignity just your whole your dignity in itself, like regardless of what age you are, I guess it's just I don't think I would ever want to sit in a room for whatever amount of money to feel that horrible,
I don't I
I
don't
don't know.
actually know how old they are because I would like to say that if they're in their 20s maybe a lot to
Yeah.
grow. But I'm
Uh-huh.
thinking some of them are already, in I mean, I think at least with Trisha, like I'm assuming that she's in her 30s, correct?
Yeah.
I don't actually know, but I don't know. To be caught up in this type of drama, I just feel like it's just not cool. And I know she's going through things of her own too, and these events she says are traumatizing, and I believe her when she says that because certain people
Yeah.
just can't handle certain situations like this. But you go on a trip thinking that you're going with friends. You don't go on a trip thinking that you're gonna be the center of someone's, entertainment, cruel as it is, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And
So and then
go ahead.
the whole thing about her talking about like she's always been really good friends with Shane. And again, Shane is not someone that I even subscribe to. But it's she was talking about Shane and Rylan and how like you know, she's done with the both of them. So I had to go back a few videos just to see like what's going on because I'm not really in that like whole scene and everything. I just kind of just
Mhm.
watch and gloss over. But apparently Rylan is Shane's fiance, which I didn't know. But I know of Shane, And at
Yeah,
first
yeah.
I thought that he was a kind person, out there and helping and everything. But as stories unfold, like it's showing a different side of him that I never, not that I never thought it could happen, but I'm just like, wow, you do not know a person until you actually like really know them. And for Trisha, who's been in a friendship with him for 12 years, finally coming out and saying that she's no longer supporting him and that the friendship is over because and I'm with rightful reason that is because Shane was never really friends with her, and even
Yeah.
like and also standing by Jeffree through all the times and everything when Jeffree wasn't as friendly to Trisha. That's not the type of friendship you kind of want around. Like he's definitely I would categorize him as more on the toxic side of things.
Yeah, and I think it's funny because you and I, we have very different pop culture resources that we take in. And so when it comes to like the Shane world, I definitely am a little bit more in tune with him. And it's only because like, I and I think we spoke about Jeffree too. Like, I knew Jeffree from like MySpace and stuff because I followed him for
Yeah.
a little bit too there. So we both came from very different worlds. It's amazing that we're friends. So, but
We're friends not based on this, okay? We have other
no, no,
qualities
no.
that make us
Yeah,
friends.
exactly. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's just because it comes down to like the quality of our friendship, which I love you very
Yeah.
much, by the way. So
Actually,
doing this.
we should probably let them know how we became fast friends. Kaya, will you please share that story because it's just
No,
the
we
best when
should
you
do
say
that.
it.
No, 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 no. We should do it like on a special stream, and then we could actually perform
Okay, okay,
it.
okay. All right, cool, cool.
That should
Oh,
be
what?
like what
No, no, no. I didn't think
we
that we would
should
actually
perform it like a
perform
special.
something.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. That's how we met. It's
Okay.
through a
Anyways,
performance.
that would be another story. But
Yeah. But
yeah. So you were telling me how Jeffrey you knew Jeffrey back in the MySpace age, which I had no idea that was where he came from. But it definitely lent more of an eye opener for me. And now, yeah, go ahead and finish.
Oh no, no. I was just yeah, the MySpace time, and I think like when I started YouTube, it was also the same MySpace time too, where like I was into that scene, emo.
Mm-hmm.
I, I look
Mm-hmm.
different now, I guess. But you know, you know, and Shane was like the pretty much the grandfather, like they said, of YouTube. And he started out on YouTube very early on as well. And so, even back then when I was watching some of his stuff, like, yeah, a lot of his stuff, even back then for me, I felt like, hey, I wouldn't make those kind of jokes, just because I am a person of color.
Yeah.
So like I wouldn't
I
make those jokes, and there were times when
yeah.
I saw him making those, jokes. I was like, well, some of my friends are, this category of people that you're making fun of. So I never subscribed to him. I did always pop in and out on some of his videos, like when he did the Tana Mojo thing and the Jake Paul docu series. I saw that and I thought, oh, how cool! Like, the formatting and the way he did it was really cool. I respected him in the sense that like he was a creative person, but for the subject that he chose, like Tana, she's young. She's going through her partying phase, and obviously, there are things that she does that hasn't had like major consequences yet. Jake Paul, same deal too. Like the subjects that he chooses for his docu series is, to me, the first time he did with Tana, I was like, okay, cool. Then Jake, and then he went to Jeffrey, and I'm like, all right, there's a pattern here. When you can get along with these people, when you can excuse a lot of their behaviors and try to redeem them, it says more about you than it does about them at that point for me. Did you freeze up on me or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
looks like I'm
So,
back.
yes, I was just saying, it at that point it kind of, by the time he started doing the docu series with Jeffrey, it kind of said more about Shane than it did about the other three subject matters. And that's when I started to realize that, if you can get along with people that are, I guess, quote unquote, problematic or quote unquote toxic, then what does that say about you, right? Because for me, I
Mhm.
cannot sit in a room with someone who's problematic or someone who's toxic without
Mhm.
like having a complete anxiety meltdown, or without feeling really crappy about myself for being in that room for too long, Because it does
I
take a
totally
certain type
agree.
of person.
Yeah, and I remember you were telling me how with Jeffrey back in the MySpace days, he also had like a lot of drama surrounding him, leading up until like YouTube. So to me, we kind of figured out like, hey, if this is the case, that and he keeps having drama wherever he goes, maybe the common denominator is him, right? Like he's the one that's causing the drama, and also, it also doesn't help that he stirs up things with other people. I don't follow Shane at all. I only hear him from other videos that I've seen him in. But for someone who likes to gaslight and have other traits, I just those are just toxic traits to me that I would never be friends with someone like that. You know what I mean? Like I am more seeking out the more genuine type of people that I want to surround myself with. Like I want to be a good person. And when you surround people who lift you up versus like take you down, that, like that's more of the healthier mindset. I'm sure
Yeah.
everyone goes through their own like struggles in life. I don't know what he has gone through. I actually I didn't even know he was canceled until I had to actually look him up and say like, why is he coming back? It's like, yeah,
Girl,
like
we are
based on
on
all those
Dramageddon 4.
no, no, I know. Based on like what I've heard and why he was canceled, I'm like, well, no wonder he was. But that's but he gained his popularity based on that. So there's a lot of people back then who actually want to watch those type of content, which is really sad, unfortunately. Um, but yeah, he gained the popularity, and now everyone's like coming back and taking the justice route and doing this and that, and he's getting in trouble for it. Why
Yeah.
didn't he get in
I
trouble back then when he actually uploaded the video in the first place? Like
yeah.
why now? The only reason now is because he's actually, popular in the quote unquote sense, which I feel, I don't know. I don't think those videos should have even gained traction to begin with in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? I feel like a hypocrite about this because I think in 2019 I did a video with one of his merch as like a thrift
Mm.
as a merch flip, and at that time I can't recall if he did the Jeffree series or not, but I think he was just getting done with the Jake Paul stuff, and I thought it was really good. And I was like, hey, I'm gonna support this creator, so I bought his merch. But like when I was scrolling through it, there was one, I think it was the Shanae character, and I was just like,
Uh,
nope, can't get that, can't get this. But then there's the pig one, which is like the oh my god one. So now like I feel kind of like crap because I supported him that way, but at the same time I don't know. I just feel I don't feel okay about it. I don't have the
honestly,
shirt anymore.
yeah, like you shouldn't go back and say you feel guilty because we all didn't know what type of person he is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Until like things unfold. But granted, some of the videos that he's done, it's supposed to be in like jokes, but we know nowadays that that is not good to even joke about these type of things anyways.
Yeah.
And it's also based on maturity too, because he probably made
Yeah.
those videos when he was very young and very like
Yeah.
ignorant, and it's just one of those things where as people grow they see the error in their ways. So I wouldn't go back. Like you and I like to support YouTubers, or and
Yeah.
even bloggers, and if we see that it's someone that who are likable in that sense, and we want to go and support them. There's no reason, like you knew like what you wanted to do. So I don't think you should
Yeah.
go back and like feel guilty. You did what you did based on the person that he presented himself to be.
Yeah, you know what it is? I think so when he did do those jokes back in the day, I never subscribed. I didn't leave a comment because I knew that's not something I wanted to support. And people
Right.
say that, apologies can only go so long because it shows through your actions and not through you apologizing, right? So I
Yep.
figured that, by the time he did the Tana stuff and the Jake stuff, he has grown enough and has changed his actions and stuff. And I was like, all right, now I can support you because obviously you were young back then, right?
Yeah.
So context matters, right? I'm not
Totally.
one to be like, yes, you have made comments that are very problematic in the past, but now are you better? If you're still
Hmm.
problematic, then we have an issue, right?
Yeah.
I but
And it
but then
sounds
it
like
comes
it sounds like he hasn't really gotten better. He's gotten better at hiding.
Yes, that's what it is. And that's unfortunate, right? Like we're now
Yeah.
seeing the mask come off and
Right.
um
We're seeing the true
which
him.
okay, the only reason why we're seeing the mask lift off is because we are seeing all these drama channels coming out saying,
Mhm.
well, we got receipts of Shane saying this and that. Have you heard it? Have you heard?
I heard a few. I'm not as like I didn't delve really into it, but if there are receipts, like I don't know. I just find that sometimes it's just telling of a person, when it's good that there are receipts, but sometimes you could also like cut and paste those to present a different story, right? So
So they're voice
even with
memos.
receipts. Oh, the voice
No,
memos. Okay, I
yeah,
didn't
they're
hear the voice
voice
memos.
memos.
No.
Yeah. Well, I didn't hear either. I just heard that there's voice memos going around of Shane talking smack of Trisha.
Oh, no, no. Well, so Trisha said that it was based. Um, she had receipts, but she said that they deleted those voice memos on like the group chat,
Okay.
so she didn't have it on her end. I don't know how other people have it on theirs, but I do
Okay.
not doubt that he has said those things about Trisha. I just feel he's very two-faced,
Mhm.
and he's definitely a person that's capable of gaslighting.
Mhm.
Um, I yeah, and then with Rylan responding, the being like the innocent person and all this, he didn't know, blah blah blah. That's also BS to me.
Yeah.
You are Shane's fiance, and you have not known any of this. I don't buy that for one bit. Um,
Yeah.
I didn't know. I don't know. Jeffree is definitely not an innocent in all this either. He is definitely the one that's, definitely stoking or creating something. And if he says that he's innocent in all this, no. I do not like that he plays on other people's downfall. I don't like that if a person is not to his standards, that he just cuts them out
Yeah.
of his life. And I don't like the fact that he says that, yeah, he grew up from nothing, made himself from nothing, but yet it's still no reason for him to money shame Trisha.
Yeah.
There's just no
And
absolutely
Trisha is
no
like really
reason.
rich too.
Huh?
Like she's like super rich too. So it's not like
Is she really? But even
yeah,
so,
yeah.
like, I don't care. Like, to money shame someone with like saying that she rents her
Yeah, yeah.
home versus buying, that to
Yeah.
me is like there's no rhyme or reason why, like, if you're renting a place, that's also economically makes sense in your situation, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because maybe the market is too high to buy, or maybe like certain things, or maybe you don't want to actually commit
Yeah.
into staying at one area. Like, there's all
Yeah.
sorts of reasons why a person won't buy. To
Exactly.
not have a house a, does not make who you are. Like, I just don't believe in that, and I don't understand why he had to, like, I don't know, for someone who makes fun of another person even subtly, like, I don't like that, not at all.
Yeah. Well, I think physical attributes is off the table, right? Like when you go for
Yes.
someone's looks, obviously you have nothing else to go for, as far as their like character or their actions. Like literally you have nothing. And it really shows the level of envy when you go for someone's looks, I feel like. When you go
Totally.
money, again, it's another level of envy. Even though Jeffree might have more money than Trisha, I do think maybe how Trisha gets her money or whatever could be a like of envy. So, um, I mean, I agree with you. Looks and money, I don't know, and even education. Like when people go for, digs on, well, you didn't do this in like you didn't go to college or whatever. Like again, everyone's circumstances are different. We don't know, and we cannot judge them for that. So I agree. The whole like you rent, it's such like
It was
it's such
so
a
like,
weird
it was
dig.
just
It
like,
is such a
so
weird dig. Yeah,
it is.
yeah. Like it's such a weird dig. Like okay, I guess. I mean, and it wasn't like she's not living in like a regular apartment, she's living in
Yeah,
a
it's like a
really
house.
nice home. Yeah. And so and I don't know where she lives and stuff, but I just come from what I can gather, she lives in a nice place in a nice home. So even still,
Well,
I'm pretty
now
sure bougie.
Yeah, well, now apparently she did buy a place. She actually bought like a mansion, so there's nothing for him to say about that. But for me, it was just like, I don't even think that you needed to do that, because I think, like, you need to stand ground, and, like, if you rent, so what? More power
Yeah.
to you. You actually have, the thing is, like, you have a home above, you have a house, a roof over your head. Like, that's what matters. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what, like, whether you rent or buy. Like, doesn't matter. I'm sorry, no.
Yeah, and again, like he
Materialistic
did.
does not tell who you are. Like it's not. It
Uh,
doesn't define your character.
yeah, it's not character make, and even so, like he does mention all the time that he came from nothing, absolutely nothing,
Always.
and for that to be, a point to bully someone or to make fun of someone, it's just like, did you forget about your past? Like,
Yeah.
you
If you came
know?
from nothing, you should have some sympathy. You should have some compassion and empathy for another person who's doing the same.
Yeah,
You don't take them down.
yeah, and okay, so then the whole Jay thing, because he's the one that made the video, and that's what made it all like the live stream, right? And that's what made it all kind of really blow up. Um,
I
I think,
actually, yeah, I just watched that one. I did not like him at all. I have no idea who Jay is, but for me to see how he reacted with Trisha, like, and calling her names and things like that, I was like, dude, no matter how much you dislike a person, there's no reason, rhyme or reason why you have to bring that person down like that. No.
and even
Oh
if you
my
did, do it
God.
in your burn book, do it in a journal,
Yeah.
do it to your therapist. Like, don't go
Don't
on
put it on
live.
live. I
Like,
totally agree. Oh my God, like
right? Like,
the things that he said, I was just like, this is not an apology. Like, what the heck is he doing? Like, and also I don't understand why, like, I understand why text is texting around, but you also have to realize that texting, when you say something over text, it sometimes can be read totally different. Like, I actually a couple of screenshots to make a point. But he has said that at one moment, he said that it says if you need my routing number, then like here it is. And she says, I have it already sent it. He says, thank you. Oh, haven't gotten any alert from bank. Maybe it takes a while. She said, babe, I haven't seen it. I just told you. I mean, I haven't sent it. I just told you. And he was like, oh, sorry, got it. But the way I read it was that she had she has the routing number and she sent it probably to her accountant. But he read it as in she sent in the request already, like sent him the money. So
uh,
can you see from my point of view too that he probably thought that she said that she already sent him the money, whereas she meant to say that she sent it probably to her accountant.
yeah, yeah. No,
This is
I think
why
it's a
you have to
yeah.
like, yeah,
Yeah, sometimes you have to just conduct business over the phone.
yeah, like,
Um,
especially, yeah,
or
no,
or or
you
or
send
when
the
it comes to, I'm sorry, what was that? What were you saying?
Oh, no, no, no. I'm just saying, like, just something like this should not be over text, and maybe you have to reread it because maybe like, oh, I'm sorry, I misread that,
Yeah,
and
or
then could
even like,
clarify.
yeah, or don't read between the line and assume, like, because because Trisha is one of those people where there's business Trisha and then there's Trisha online. She's very you can't read her business text and assume it's like the Trisha that you see online. And you can't read the Trisha online and assume that's the business Trisha, because she does have, I mean, and we all have different sides to ourselves, right? Like the way I am with my partner, I'm very just very chill, or not chill, but like not uptight as much. And then, with my daughter, I'm definitely different. So I think even that on text translates differently too.
Yep.
But for him to be so angry at her
Oh
on
my
that live
God.
was just,
It was uncalled for. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like that he definitely went down the list for me. He is like my least favorite person.
and the thing was, he was trying to defend Jeffree too. And Jeffree doesn't like Jeffree doesn't need defending. First of all, the man can really take care of his own. But
Mhm.
I just think it's funny that the next day Jeffree was like, "Good morning, everyone," except for the guy that does my hair, which is Jay. And I was like, "Yeah, yeah." And so at the end of the day, I mean, you can go and defend Jeffree as much as you want, but if it's gonna make him look bad, like he's not gonna yeah, he's not gonna come out and be like, well, it's still defend you. You're nothing to him, pretty much. And that's the thing. I think Jay overstepped a little bit, or overstepped a little bit.
Totally overstepped, overstepped. Yeah, he totally did that.
Um,
he probably shouldn't have said anything, honestly. Like, it makes him look really bad.
and my thing is, what provoked him to go on stream? Do you know?
I have no idea. I don't know. I don't think that he put any apology video, right? He didn't apologize to Trisha or
He
anything like that. The
call her.
I don't know. I think it's all a misunderstanding. To me, it was all a misunderstanding, but he took it to the next level. I really do think like Trisha does have a good heart, and maybe she does put her trust in the wrong person. But is no matter what kind of person you are, it never is never okay to like to talk about that to another person like that, you know? Like, so Jay totally is in the
Yeah.
wrong. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Like
The whole
let's
situation
take
was just what?
yeah, well, let's just take Jeffree for an example. Like not someone I would want to be in the room with, but even so, I would never say those things to him. I would never
Mhm.
threaten him. I would never berate his looks or his hair or his
Mhm.
money or anything, you know? So,
Yeah.
character wise, like I mean, not the nicest person, I can say that. Um, but I I don't know. I feel sad because I know that like Trisha really thought highly of Shane, and
I
they were
felt
good
sad
friends. And I think,
about that.
you
Yeah.
know, and when you lose a friend of like 12 years like that, that's always sad.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
You
especially when you
know?
felt like you trusted that person, you know, like, and you trust, like, when you confide in that person for all those years, and then you come to find out that that person actually never really had you in their wings, you know, like that's
Yeah.
like a betrayal of trust.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
totally get that.
I, and then, you know, some of these like voice memos and texts that we've been hearing, like some people have been saving it for almost 3 years now. And I'm like, who saves text messages and stuff for 3 years? Like, I don't, do
Oh, I've
you?
never actually I don't delete my text. So I'm sure I've
Okay.
had to.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those where you don't delete a
Okay.
chat, so
Okay.
you'll
Okay.
have it, you know, and it just
But does
gets saved. So
it span back for 3 years though?
yeah, I've had chats from way back, like whenever I had my phone when I first text. I'm sure, you know, as long as I didn't actually deleted like the whole, or if I didn't have a backup, like then I
Hmm.
probably didn't save those chats. But yeah, like I would say keep those chats.
Okay, so like, does it just go into like a cloud or something then, and then it just stays there?
No, it stays on your
Or
phone. If you have enough
really?
space, it just stays on your phone. Yeah, girl. Have you
Oh,
never tried to search for your text and it
I
pops
mean,
up
I
from like, oh,
have,
I haven't
I
spoken to this
have.
person since 2011.
Yeah, yeah, I know. No, I have, but like the thing is, I set it to delete every 30 days because I don't like junk on
Oh,
my phone. You know, I
no,
don't
I
like.
keep them.
Okay,
So
I
you're
don't know. Well,
different.
I just have a, yeah, I'm different. So that's the reason why I'm like, I guess to me, I just think who would consciously save a 3 year message? But I guess for you, you're explaining it to me that it's not a conscious effort. It just
Yeah.
happens because it's part of the technology. Okay, okay, I
Yeah, yeah,
understood
yeah,
now.
yeah,
When I saw
yeah.
someone, I'm like, who saves that and then use it for something in the future? Then okay, then that
No,
sounds shady.
it's
Okay.
no, no. She wouldn't have deleted the chain or anything like that, the group text. Like, I've actually, I think it was just last year or the year before that, I found out that you can actually search for keywords in your chat,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
pull up conversation. I had no idea. Like,
Are
all
you
this time,
serious?
like to specific points, but I'm so glad I found that out.
Mhm.
I was last year old, like 2 years old when I found that out. So,
Wow.
anyways, that saved me so much more heartache, like hard work.
That I knew,
I
but
Yeah.
okay. My other question is, then to know that someone has talked smacked about Trisha and then to go back and actively search for that and then pull it up and then bring it onto social media. Now that's a shady behavior, right?
Well,
Or
she
no?
was. Are you talking about Trisha doing this or like
No,
other?
no, no.
Because she
A third party. A third party.
third party.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, especially if you're not the person that's involved in in this whole, you know, drama thing. But I don't know. To me, I just feel like, why create drama? You know, when it's just better just to like, I don't know, water under the bridge kind of thing. But people just like to see these things on YouTube, you know? As like, what do you do nowadays during quarantine, during a pandemic?
So like a couple of days ago, I did go through my contacts and I was just deleting a bunch of contacts, and I had a lot of contacts from YouTubers from back in the day and stuff too. And I was just like, this is a gold mine, you know? But at the same time, I was like, I don't talk to them. You know, I'm just gonna remove them, and I'm pretty sure they probably like if I were to text them, be like, who are you? Like, you know. So like I was just going through all of that, and I was just thinking like I I don't know the because a lot of the drama channels do have the receipts of Shane saying this and that because he has been going throughout the years going to different channels and telling them stuff about Trisha, and so they have the
Mm.
receipts, and so now they're coming out and they're sharing it on social media, and I'm just thinking like what what comes from this? One, it does make Shane look worse, but then two, it also would break Trisha's heart even more, and that really is stoking it, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
especially if Trisha is not the one coming out with these receipts. It's just like a third party that already knew this information. I guess I don't know. It's one of those things where like if you know that your friend's partner is stepping out on her, do you tell her or I don't know. I guess that's where
I
my
mean, as a
mindset is.
friend, as a as a friend, I would totally tell her.
Okay.
But now
Okay.
it's kind of triggering something. Like it's kind of making me think that there were talks of like Shane coming back. I
Yeah.
wonder if all of this that's happening is to help him come back because everyone's talking about all this
Or
stuff and not remembering why he actually left in the first place, even though I'm sure
oh
people will still
yeah.
remember.
Yeah, that's true. Or is it a way to keep him down? To continue to keep him down because we don't know what the other side is thinking as well, right?
True.
Yeah. So it could be honestly, I don't know. Like at this point, I'm just wondering how authentic a lot of these things are going around online, and like I think the reason why so many people are focused on the whole Shane and Ryland situation is like debacle is because they always come off as nice people. And when you constantly come off like you're nice, but then your mask get lifted and people are like, oh my gosh, that's Satan. It hits harder than to see Satan sit right there and know that he's there and still engage with him. And then like, him doing something horrible and doesn't hit as hard, right? Like we know
Yeah.
Jeffree is an awful person. And so when he does something awful, it's just like, oh, that's just Jeffree. Look at him. That's what he does, right? But then to see, like Sean and Rylan come out like that, I think it hits harder, and because of that, I think Jeffree's going to be able to get away again and move on to do another, move on and probably be in another drama in the future. And it's just he's
I don't
so
know. I can only take so much drama from him. It's almost the same thing with him.
yeah, it is like boy who cries wolf kind of situation.
Hmm.
You know, it's like, oh, that's cute. You had your 2 cent in. Okay, now let's go back to what is the real problem here. You know,
Hmm.
um,
Yeah.
again, he's the
I
common
feel
denominator.
like I feel like as their money grow, they forget who they are and they forget or maybe Jeffrey never forgot. Maybe that's just the way he is all along and it's just that it came now he's just more successful. But I just feel like people forget where they come from and like they're not as grounded anymore. And they just lose their true like values, like true traits. I think, like for example, like Carly Bible, she doesn't let fame get to her head. She's still very down to earth. I still watch her. Like I'm happy to see how she's doing and things like that. Um, but like when it comes to other people, it's like they cannot handle that. I don't know.
Hmm. And it's
They let it get to their head.
yeah, I think it's also that, and also like this, when you are, let's say, if you are a broken person and you're trying to seek some kind of happiness, the first thing is money and materialistic needs is what you think would make you
They try
happy.
to
So
fill
when
that
you get,
void. Yep.
so you get, yeah, you fill that void with money, right? And then you get there with the
Mhm.
money. So now you're just a broken person with money. right?
Yeah.
So there's people who are well adjusted, and then they do what they love, but then money is just like a side effect of that. And so they're a well adjusted person with their talent and money. So there's two ways to go about it as far as the goal of money goes. And I
Yeah.
think when we're talking about Trisha, Jeffree, Shane, I don't know about Ryan, but the top three, and I'm not going to diagnose or anything. It's just my opinion here is that they have gone through, from what we have seen, is that they have trauma in their lives, and maybe the money plus the trauma plus this, like the eyes on them on social media, it doesn't help. It doesn't help. And then obviously we are going through 2020 the sequel right now. That also doesn't help as well. But the thing with Trisha is she just got engaged, and she just bought a house with her fiance. And Moses seems like a really chill guy and really nice and stuff. So I hope that, like, after she gets not get rid of, but like she distanced herself from Shane, who has probably been toxic to her, that maybe going forward, things will be a little bit more positive for her. As far
I
as I
hope
know,
so.
yeah, she's also said that she's going to therapy to work on a lot of her problems and stuff too. So
Good.
maybe the Shane thing is like the last boundary she had to draw, and it's probably like one of the
Good.
hardest, right?
Yeah, I
So
agree that when it comes to a point in your life that when you find a person is toxic, just get rid of them. Like no what ifs but like buts whatsoever. Like they're just not good in your life. And so I'm glad that she's cutting ties with that, and then hopefully she'll be able to have a brand new chapter, and focus on what's good in her life versus like what are the things that bring her down. I don't Yeah, I mean, it's hard to see someone go through like a breakdown. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, and I mean, she could have probably done it quietly too, create a boundary quietly. But I'm pretty sure even if she did, like, let's say she went on Twitter and unfollowed him, people are gonna be like, "Hey, what's going on? Hey, what's going on? Why are you unfollowing?" Like, it's still gonna be a thing. So maybe this is the way to end a relationship, um, for a group of very dramatic people.
Oh boy.
I know.
I
I mean,
mean, I guess we'll
not
see.
not how I would do it, like not how I would end a relationship. But that's the thing, though. I don't think I've ever had to break up with a friend ever. It's always just people move on, and you just
Yeah,
don't keep in touch,
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but I also don't have a lot of friends, so
That is not true, KL. You have friends. Stop
I
saying
just don't have a lot of them. Okay, I keep my circle very
Well,
small.
and I think that's perfectly natural. As you actually get older, your circle of trusted friends and confidants do get smaller. Like all the other people in your life are acquaintances, but there are definitely a true circle of friends that you find are the ones that will stick with you, through and through. And I think
Yeah,
those are the people that you want to surround yourself with.
and also as you do get older, your problems get bigger.
Yeah.
And those problems are things that you don't want to just share with any person down the street, like
Yep.
finances or marital or kids or whatnot, so so I
Keep it
mean
all
that in itself
private.
helps, yeah, that in itself helps limit the friend circle a little bit. But I mean,
Yeah, unfortunately, with a lot of these YouTubers who start YouTube young,
yeah,
they've, have been in the spotlight, quote unquote. So it's all they know, it's all like whatever problems they're going through and everything, it needs to be heard loud and clear. But honestly, some of these things can be just be behind closed doors. Nobody
yeah,
needs to know their business except for themselves. Like whatever their struggles going through. I get there are people who do want to share that experience to help others who are in similar situation to like help go through. But if it doesn't help them and it just ends up getting like being a mess, I don't know if you're helping anybody.
yeah, it just becomes exploitation at this point,
Yeah,
you know I mean, like
there
exploitation
there
of
needs
the of
yeah there needs to be a like first acknowledging what you've done, you know, what you are going to do and what you've like, or what you've learned from it, and then what you're planning to do from here on out. Like that is growth to me.
Mhm.
For you to just like spew all, you know, all your stuff online and not having anything to back up or to say that you've learned and grown from it, that's not helpful at all.
Yeah, it's just another phase, you know. And I
Yeah,
mean, we all have phases, right? It's just that now it's
of course.
documented on social media, right? Um,
Yeah.
and I think, you know, like I definitely started out like in my early 20s, and even then I didn't feel well adjusted enough to be on social media in my early 20s. So I can't imagine um, the caliber that some of these people feel with their millions of eyes on them. And I don't know. It's just it's a weird, interesting. You know what it is? It's when YouTube first started, a lot of people joined because they wanted to find like-minded people, or the real world is just not it's just not there for them, right? And it's mostly, you know, like people who have mental health problems or feel alone or lonely and want more friends. And I can attest to that. That's the reason why I started YouTube
Mm-hmm.
too. But the problem is that then they start to really think that these people are their friends, and then they start
Right.
to that they are their therapists. And
Yeah.
a lot of them would say, you know, how I decompress, how I relax is by going on YouTube. Well, yeah, yes, it could be a hobby, which we're doing right now, which is fun. We're crafting
Mm-hmm.
and we're chatting. But
Mm-hmm.
therapy should be therapy. I don't think, you know, going on social media and venting your issues while you're emotionally charged is good therapy. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously there's type of therapies, right? Like retail therapy, that's not good therapy, but there it is, right? So I think that's the problem that a lot of social influencers are having a like a time grasping, is that yes, you do have a connection to your viewers and your followers and your supporters. Maybe some of them will become great friends. Mel and I, we met through social media, and then, well, we met in person first, and then, but we were in that same like world,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Yeah.
then they can be your lifelong friends, but it's also, you know, a needle in a haystack kind of situation, because all the
Mm-hmm.
people I've met in my past, like I think Mel is probably the only one that's still in my life.
I mean, I definitely watched you before I met you, though. Like, I've seen a few of your
I
videos, so I
watched
knew, yeah, like I knew
Yeah.
you. I just remember, like, oh, it's like, oh, we're gonna hang out with so and so. I was like, oh, cool. I haven't really met her in person, but that'll be cool. And so, yeah,
Yeah.
and then we clicked and became like fast friends, which I am to this day still surprised. But hey, we're both cool.
I've been trying to shake her off since 2015.
Whatever. You just stuck with me, okay? Don't let me tell them about the dream you had, all right?
I know. I was so sad. I was like, what
I
is
know.
going
I was
on?
just like, girl, you cannot get rid of me. Come on
I know. I woke
now.
up. I was just so sad. I had to text you. It was just like, what did I do wrong? But
She had
it's,
a dream that I got mad at her and
I know.
stopped talking to her.
I know. I was so sad. But that's the thing. It's like you don't get that like with every
Yeah.
single, you know, follower or supporter or whatnot. And if you do, it's absolutely beautiful and it's wonderful. But at the same time, when you have like millions of eyes on you, I don't know how quality a lot of those can be, you know?
Mm-hmm. I
I mean,
agree.
obviously don't treat your supporters and your followers like trash either, right?
Oh no.
Because they're probably,
Uh,
you know, the reason why you're where you're at. But I
Yeah,
I
I'm
do
so like
hope the best.
sometimes I just feel so, grateful that there are still people who stuck. Like I haven't uploaded in years, and then when I did, at one point, like it was just touching my heart that there's people who are
Yeah.
still on the channel and still saying that, they miss my videos and they are glad to see that I'm well and things like that. That's very touching. And I
Yeah.
of course like to know like how they're doing and how they're handling themselves during all these years, and especially during the pandemic. It's
Mhm.
just a different time of year, a different time, it's just crazy, crazy time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, in an ideal world, would I love to be able to like spill my secrets to the whole world? Of course.
Mhm.
But we don't live in an ideal world, right? We live in
Yeah.
a time where, what you say or do can come back. And it seems like it has been coming back towards Shane and Trisha and Jeffree in many ways. And, you do learn from your mistakes, but obviously you learn a lot faster from other people's mistakes. Um,
Yeah. But
right?
I've always had this mindset that unfortunately it actually takes a really bad situation to happen for you to actually learn from your mistakes.
Yeah,
When things are good in your life, you don't really learn, and it's
yeah,
just that's unfortunately the reality of it all.
yep.
But I'm hoping that, yeah, through all of this, that you do look at what people are going through and everything, and just learn from it, and take it with a grain of salt. But yeah,
Yeah.
just try to be good in your life.
Yeah, and I think this actually is a good segue into our second topic, which we're just going to touch on really quickly because I think we're probably
Mhm.
hitting the 1 hour mark. But it does go into, I told Mel, I was just like, okay, I'm looking at our docket. This is going to take an hour. And
Yeah.
then yeah, we'll probably roll the second topic into, the following, or just touch on it really quickly. But
Mhm.
I'll touch on it really quickly in the terms of like, when YouTube first started, it was just like a hobby. It was a place where you upload your videos, have fun, meet friends, whatever. Now it's a full-on business for a lot of people, and when money gets, and it has been happening for a while, when money is a part of something, there's going to be a lot of contracts and terms of services and stuff. And so they have been changing a lot of that. One of the big ones, and I think something that I think is really, really great that they're doing is that they are no longer they're asking you to not use people's what's it called, profile photos, or their little icons where they leave comments as identifiers for their personal life and stuff, because people can use that
Oh,
image
okay.
and then do like a Google image search and then find their LinkedIn and then figure out where they work and then call their work and have them doxxed. It's like a whole thing. And we've seen situations like that where people have called in and tried to harass someone's job to the point that the managers are like, look, I can't have you working here anymore. And so it's nice
Oh,
that
that's
YouTube has,
terrible.
yeah, it's nice that YouTube has added that into their new terms of service. And I think that's awesome. We do need a little bit more privacy and protection, even though for the longest time we've always heard you put yourself out there, therefore you deserve X, Y, and Z, which I don't think it's fair. Just because you make yourself public doesn't mean you need certain things dug up
You're
in your
still,
life,
yeah,
right?
you're still human. It's almost the same thing about, like, not that I'm, it can liken us to like celebrities, but dude, just because they're celebrities doesn't make them not human. They
Yes.
still have emotions. They still go through issues like everyone else. Like, and you should just still treat everyone, like them, with respect. Um,
Yeah.
so I mean, for us, for our channel, we just want to pretty much just shoot the breeze and, like, talk to each
Yeah.
other and everything. But for whatever we're talking about, it's never to try to harm another person. It's just mainly just two girls, chit chatting, and maybe eventually down the line that would be able to, like, add on like guest speakers possibly. But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it's more out of, this is all for entertainment purposes. It's not for, it's not nothing to do, like, coming out, and we're not creating this out of malice.
Yeah. And once we log off, like I'm not going on my laptop or my or whatever
And
trying to dig
trolling.
up extra info. Yeah, no, no,
Yeah,
no. Once this is off, I'm probably like taking a nap or something. So
right.
so I do like the fact that YouTube has added that in there. Obviously, there's like another extra little bit in their terms of service where it's like, yeah, okay. So basically, YouTube is saying that like if person A and B are in conflict, then that means person A wants to sue person B, but if person B doesn't have any money, person A can't go, well, YouTube left the video up, so therefore I'm gonna try to go and sue YouTube. So YouTube is like, no, that's not gonna happen. We're gonna put that in our new terms of service. So if you guys have beef, kind of hash it out on your own. And again, I think that's also great as well. But at the same time, this puts us in like a really weird situation where maybe one person with a little bit more influence and more money can silence someone who doesn't have a lot of money. So it's a weird gray area, and I don't know how I feel fully about it. I guess it comes down to
It just
the
comes down
subject matter.
to actually trusting the person that you're going to go into business with. You trust that the other person is not going to take you to the cleaners kind of thing, or like, or settling things like out of fairness, right? Like, I
I
mean, I
mean,
don't know.
yeah, what happened to arbitrating like offline? Just
Right?
sitting on a conference call and maybe talking it out. But I guess we're in a very sue happy world right now, and I know YouTube just has to protect itself, and it's a business, so I get it. Which I think is funny because they have made they have changed their service like in 2017 or 18 to say that if their videos are not ad friendly, you're not going to be monetized. But then they just changed it recently in November where it's like, you're not going to be monetized, but we're still going to run ads on it and we're going to take the money, which I think that's sketchy.
That is
So
sketchy. That's so
that is
sketchy.
very, right? It's like, you know what? I'm not going to pay you to go do something horrible, but once you do it and you make money off of it, I'm going to take it. So it's like, it's it's weird. I don't know how I feel about that one. Maybe they will change it, but I'm thinking that they might do that on like very videos that are super viral that might not be ad friendly. Like, let's say,
Hmm.
I can't make an example, but if that video is not ad friendly for like Disney or Honda or Tide or whatnot, I'm assuming that YouTube is like, well, we can find some other sketchy ads that can go on it and still make money off of that. And I don't know. Susan, I would like to hear your input on this. The CEO, come on, Susan, come out. Like, tell us more
Oh, she's
about
the
this. So,
CEO.
yeah, yeah. So I'm just I'm curious to know what's gonna come out of that because I think a lot of YouTubers are not excited about that. It's just sketchy. It's just I don't know. Not a fan of it.
YouTube
Um,
YouTube is a platform, so like they are definitely they've come a long way, and I think it's one
yes,
of those that where they have to also save their butts but make money in the same run. Like it's just one of
yeah,
those where it's a business for them too. So
yes,
um
yeah,
yeah, it's sketchy. I don't agree with that, but you're also using their platform, like you don't
exactly.
have to use it. You can go somewhere else. And if there I don't even know where else you could go to, but um
And I
you use
and I
all of their like the resources, you know what I mean?
I mean, it's not cheap to host all of these videos. I mean, we're gonna have an hour-long video here, so
Mm-hmm.
like, where is it hosted? Like, someone's gonna have to pay for it, right? So
Yeah. Well,
I
back
understand.
do you remember back then when we had to like post videos only within a certain amount of like it was like 10 minutes long or something like that? And like these days, like people are just like, posting so much, but they forget that, hey, YouTube has come a long way. They're
Yeah,
providing you the resources and the space to actually have a platform to use.
yeah, and I think the newer people who are joining, I don't think a lot of them realize how far YouTube has come.
Yeah.
Especially for those of us who are the older millennials.
Yeah, right.
Right? Who has lived through the fruition of Facebook and YouTube. Like, what was that? Like 2004, 2005.
Yeah.
We literally saw the first beta of these platforms.
Yeah.
And, and obviously things are going to change and grow, especially with money and more people joining the
Yeah.
platform and more
I mean,
voices and stuff.
they have to make money somehow to be able to like source their employees, like be able to pay for the employees and things like that to help with all these so many new YouTubers coming up on scene. So,
And
yeah, I don't agree that are gonna take the money and not pay you, like pay the people, but I also see it from their business standpoint too.
yeah, I think it's interesting because, like, back then YouTube was small enough that where it could self-regulate. Like if you did something
Mhm.
horrible, a majority of the people are gonna like downvote your videos and stuff and things
Mhm.
like that. And most people are just kind of, I think a lot of people who's first started are just, okay, I know the etiquette of being online and how I want to be seen and how I want how I want to treat others and stuff. And I think now that, like, again, because money is involved, the more crazy you push the limits on your videos, the more views
Yeah.
you're going to get, and that in itself can't be self-regulated, and that's the reason why YouTube does step in at times. I do know that sometimes they kind of, hands off a little bit, which is nice, but it's, I don't know. I would like to see another platform almost as worthy as YouTube pop up, hopefully one day. I also think that I think YouTube is such a huge part of our lives now that it's starting to become part of our real life. Because if you
Mhm.
would separate it like maybe 5, 6 years ago, you had your YouTube stuff and then you had your real life, right? But now so many
Mhm.
people in your work life are talking about YouTube and things like that. It's almost like they're meshing and they're becoming one. And and maybe that was one day force another company to like start, I guess, YouTube the second or something. So it would be interesting to see. I'm always very like on top of the terms of service stuff because we sign up not know, like you just sign up, you're like, all right, I'm gonna sign up and I'm gonna start posting videos, but there are fine prints, there are reasons why you don't get monetized, there are reasons why you get kicked off the platform, there are things that you can do that has like real consequences too. And I don't think that we read the little tiny print stuff, and it's constantly changing every single year. And unfortunately, because now that it is a big business for a lot of people, I think if you're going to go into it hoping to make money, you have to be on top of it too. So that going to say, like, for our channel, we don't even know if this is a monetizable situation, but we do have, like, place things in mind in the case that it, isn't like not benefit, but like backfire on us if we say something that is gonna, so it's just things like that I think is important that we kind of be mindful of. And
Mhm.
yeah, I guess that's pretty much episode 1. What do you think so far?
I liked it.
Yeah,
I really enjoy our time together and chit-chatting and things
I
like
know.
that.
It's like a nice little throwback. It brings back so many memories.
It does. I mean, yeah, back in the time. I mean, it's always good to just be able to like see your face and like, just have this chill moment together and we're just talking.
Oh my gosh, like Mel and I, sometimes when we hung out face to face, like we would just talk and talk and talk. And literally, I sometimes she'll bring up something. The other day, she brought up the whole going to the pho restaurant situation, and that completely, like, it was not even in my archive. And I was like, oh my goodness, it's because we've like have said so much to each other that like that little bit of info that came out, I was just like, I can't believe that she she did that.
Yeah, we have a lot
Yeah.
of stories.
Yeah, but we'll share them along the way as we continue to upload here. I think in once we kind of figure out a lot of the technical stuff, because we were having some issues there. I think we will probably
Yeah,
do,
my connection.
yeah, and mine too. I think we'll probably do live, and it'll be fun to see comments and stuff, and bounce off of your guys'
And
thoughts,
interact. Yeah,
and maybe pull in some guests and stuff too.
that'll be
But this was
cool.
definitely fun. And we're excited for next week. We just got to figure out what we want to talk about next week.
Yeah,
Um,
I
let's
think
see.
I already
So,
have something.
oh, you do? Okay. I think I might too, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure yet. I'm still going back and forth on my topics. Okay. So,
Okay.
um, but yeah, I mean, when we started the channel, I was just like, please let the tea gods drop something good on our lap. And a lot of stuff
I
happened
can't
this
believe.
week. So
Yeah.
many
Oh
things. The whole Reddit thing with GameStop and the stock market. Like,
my God,
bravo.
that's been going like crazy. Jeez Louise. I've been trying to get onto that, and I think I completely missed it.
Yeah, I was like, bravo, GameStop. Like, bravo. I mean, well, Redditors, which is kind of funny. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
let's see. What do we have to say before we end this? Uh, so we're planning to do live streams, more crafts, and then
Mm,
every now and then we're going to do mukbangs instead of crafting because we love food as well.
that'll be
And
fun.
I know, and
I mean,
then
who doesn't like to eat?
everyone, which reminds me, I need to catch up on the Nikocado stuff. Uh,
Oh my God. Oh
because
my
I know
God.
there's still,
That's a whole nother realm that I totally do want to touch on, because there was this one, with like Stephanie and Nick Ocado and Stephanie. There's definitely something that's on there, and I think I know to like what to say to form my opinions on. So that would be something fun to talk
has
about.
that has that like finally came to a close, or is it still ongoing?
I honestly didn't check back on it, so I might have to like go back and see like what's been going on since. But as far as I know from last year, like things were going on, and I don't know. I It's a mess. It's a big mess that we'll have to like dive into.
Well, it's yeah. I remember seeing that. I was just like, it's a lot, and there's a
Yeah,
lot of characters in that one too. So I'm gonna let Mel
yeah,
handle the mukbang world because I'm not well versed in that as much as
yeah.
so that'll be
I
a good topic
Yeah, I've been a part a little
to
bit.
talk about.
That would be
All
fun
right.
to talk about. So that should be probably something we talk about while we're actually having mukbang.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We should like yeah do like the mukbang stuff with like only mukbang drama. I don't even know if there's that many, but uh
Totally.
that'd be so fun. So all right. So that's us crafty mess here, and thank you so much for being part of our first video. You can definitely find us on Instagram. I will be on Twitter and then obviously TikTok as well if we figure out some like fun ideas to do on TikTok. But Instagram will mostly be like, snippets of like our crafts and stuff once we kind of finish it or just the behind the scenes stuff. And then Twitter is just going to be where you can probably find me trying to figure out what is going on with the YouTube world. But all of our socials is going to be listed down below, including all of our separate socials if you want to follow us there.
Yeah. Okay. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to us here for more crafting and chit chat. And always remember that no matter the tea, don't
Don't
overstep other
overstep
people's
other people's
boundaries.
boundaries.
Oh my God, why are we so bad with it?
It's because it's lagging in such
Okay, how
a.
about you say the line. You
Okay.
say yeah, no, you say the line. Say the line.
All right. Always remember, no matter the tea, don't overstep on other people's boundaries. All right. Bye.
Yep. Bye
Okay.
bye.